Well, it looks like the Game of Thrones prequel is so far a success. Here's the headline. House of the Dragon draws record-breaking audience of 10 million viewers for premiere on HBO Max. Now, I did watch the episode, and for my part, I went in with extremely low expectations for this series. And that was based on things that had been said by the showrunners. And that'd be stuff like this. A showrunner for Game of Thrones spin-off House of the Dragon says that House Valerian race-swapped to avoid putting another bunch of white people on the screen. So that, of course, screams woke, right? And we've seen so many projects where they don't care about the story. It just seems to be about pushing, just woke aesthetics. That as soon as you see that, you think, okay, well, this is not going to be good. They're not going to care about the story. This is just about virtue signaling. And again, it just gave me very low expectations for this show. I thought there was going to be a really good chance that it was going to be absolutely awful. And after watching the show, no, it wasn't bad, actually. I thought it was a pretty decent first episode. Because for one thing, it looks really good. And I thought the acting was excellent. That helps. Dialogue's pretty good. It all feels like the Game of Thrones world. As for the race-swapped character, it wasn't really in it very much. Looks like it could be an intriguing character, as long as the character is written as an interesting character and not as some sort of woke, stereotype. Now, that said, there are some issues with it. And whether or not, patriarchy is part of the source material or not, the whole patriarchy thing has just been kind of played out, hasn't it? I think everybody's kind of sick of the whole, patriarchy theme at this point. Especially when you're dealing with a magic fantasy land world, right? Maybe people don't really want to be reminded of modern politics that much. But that said, I still thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't terrible, that's for sure. Now, will it become terrible? I don't know. We're already seeing stuff like this. House of the Dragon showrunner and actor claim childbirth scene is about Roe versus Wade. It feels more timely and impactful than ever. Really? In your magical fantasy land? Maybe in this world that's based, roughly on, medieval Europe, where nobody would have, a modern woke ideology, there's a chance that too much of this might ruin it. And just reading this made me, I would say, probably 50% less interested in watching the rest of the series, but I'm not a showrunner, so what do I know? I'm just one of those plebs who wouldn't mind a Magic Fantasyland show that doesn't lecture me about modern politics. But anyway, the show has done well with the first episode. Apparently, this was the most watched premiere in the network's history. BuzzFeed News noted that House of the Dragon was trending on Twitter for 14 hours this weekend and topped Google Trends as well. Fans kept the momentum going when the episode aired by posting their reactions, good and bad, to the premiere episode. So there was always going to be a lot of interest in this after Game of Thrones. And while there are a lot of people who hated the ending of Game of Thrones, there are a lot of people who are perfectly fine with it. I personally found it underwhelming, but it didn't make me angry. I just thought, oh well. The first 5 seasons were great. It says here that it's a good thing the premiere was so popular because the network sank a lot of capital into it. Apparently, it spent between 15 and 20 million making each episode. So yeah, I think a lot of people will have liked this first episode. If nothing, just because it wasn't awful. And again, I went into it expecting it to be terrible. And it wasn't, so I was pleasantly surprised. But it will be interesting to see where this show goes, because it sounds like the showrunners are definitely very woke. And they're very determined to put modern themes into this show. At least that's what they're saying. So if in the next episode we see the Royal Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Officer, you'll know it's time to turn the channel. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for sharing my content. I will see you next time.